Hi friends, this is Kirti Bakshi here. I'm a psychotherapist and a counselor, and I've been practicing from the last 20 years. I love the work that I do, and I've made use of many modalities during my journey of 20 years. And the one that I have consistently applied in all my therapeutic exercises is metaphor therapy. Today, I am going to share with you some information about what is metaphor therapy. I teach metaphor therapy and have been teaching it for the past 12 years in form of workshops across the globe. And we have a strong base of 5,000 metaphor therapists in India itself. And we regularly meet up, we discuss, we are amazed at the world of the metaphors. So let us understand what is metaphor therapy all about. Metaphor is nothing else but an indirect expression. As we pick it up from the English language, you have a simile, which is a direct expression, and you have a metaphor, which is an indirect expression. So the moment we are looking at metaphor therapy, we are looking at indirect representations of the subconscious. Now, why do we say subconscious, and why are we saying that metaphors are representations of the subconscious? Because we do understand, even if you look at yourself, even if you go down your memory lane, you will realize that the subconscious mind stores all information in the form of visuals. It really knows no language. The language file is the second file that comes. The first file that actually comes to your mind is the visual file, and then the audio gets loaded on. So we do understand, believe, experience that the subconscious mind stores information in the form of visuals. And these visuals are called as metaphor. So would it not be more effective for us to study the visuals that are there in our clients? That's exactly what we will be doing at Metaphor Therapy Workshop. And that's exactly what I as a metaphor therapist do at all points of time. So metaphors are presented by the client in three different ways. You have something called as a visual metaphor, a verbal metaphor, and an imaginary metaphor. A visual metaphor is a drawing that is presented to you by the client, something like this. So this is a drawing which I call as a visual metaphor, and over the years we have developed a code of decoding these drawings which brings to us a lot of the subconscious climate of the client. Now this drawing is telling me, of course I don't know what it tells you, but let me tell you according to my code, this drawing tells me that the client is extremely sensitive, has had a hard time overcoming sensitivity, feels a bit of boredom at home. The family of the past was a family that had a little bit of grounding, but also had a lot of emphasis on knowledge. The client has high ambitions, but also has a tendency to go into a comfort zone. Apart from this, we can also see that the client is reflective and is looking for a lot of intellectual information in order to make his texture of understanding of life better. We also feel that the client was a bit lost and lonely during the childhood. Now, if I work on this drawing, if I understand in first 5 minutes, I'm talking about the most pertinent issue of the client's life, they feel largely understood. They not only feel understood, they are sometimes surprised and shocked at the amount of information that a drawing brings out from them. This is only called as a visual metaphor. Yet there are two more parts to metaphor. The next one is a verbal metaphor. What is a verbal metaphor? So let's assume that our client is telling us some story of their life that of course they are here with us to share. And as they are talking, they are dropping words, and they're dropping words like rockets, like maybe hammer, like maybe something to do with the scanner and things like that. Now each one of these words is a metaphor for the therapist, and each one of these words has a potential to form a complete therapy, every word. That gives you a visual. That's called as visual metaphor. So you have a 4-step process of working with the verbal metaphor, And the verbal metaphor would be a 4-step process to work with. And we will be going about identifying, processing, developing, and substituted changes. The moment we substitute a change in the metaphor, we are also introducing behavior transformations. The next one is an imaginary metaphor. I very often ask my clients to give me an imagination, that imagining that they're taking a bridge that goes across water, and what do they see? And whatever they see, I'm constantly analyzing through the code that I have developed over the last 12 years. been actively using the same code. Now when they are telling me and I'm decoding, the entire subconscious picture becomes more and more clearer to me. These are the three ways in which I work with metaphors. So do you think it only does a diagnostic? No. Metaphor goes beyond diagnosis. It goes to healing. It goes to a complete closure therapy. Every session has a diagnostic, a processing, and a closure technique attached. So in a 40-minute session, how do you diagnose, you develop, and you close the session is what we will be sharing with you in the metaphor therapy workshop. So we have a 2 days basic workshop and a 2 days advanced workshop. In the basic workshop, we'll be using drawing analysis, verbal metaphor introduction, imaginary metaphor. In the advanced class, we will be learning weaving integration of metaphors of nature. How do you weave and integrate the metaphors? How do you develop your regression, progression, healing scripts on the spot? And how are you going to make sure that your client has touched many layers of their subconscious within one therapy session? This is what we do in the basic and the advanced course. Over 16 hours of intensive training, regular contact with metaphor enriches the world of a therapist. So I invite you to join the workshop, spend some time understanding the beautiful world of metaphor, and I promise you there are no metaphors that look alike. It is a different client and a new experience every session of the metaphor therapy. Hope to see you soon.